torture chamber. The fights we had with the Romulans probably opened it somehow, and then the flies got on him, woke him up, and he is now trying to kill me for making him think I was going to destroy the ship. Newton walked off the bridge and down the hall to the torture chamber. One bodyguard in front of him and his crew in back. It was dark and damp. Newton turned on the hall light switch, but like his stream, it didn't work. Newton used a flashlight instead of a candle this time, and unlocked the door to the torture chamber. The knocking stopped when Newton entered. The knocking stopped when Newton entered, and there was the closet. It was darker than the dark, and it seemed to glow from the flashlight. "I'm going to kill this creature," Newton said as he opened the closet slowly. When Newton got the door opened, he and his crew were staggered by a stinky, macabre odor of the dead. Newton stepped into the closet with his bodyguard at his side. Newton shined the flashlight at the bottom of the sealed door that cracked from the attack, and saw huge, plump maggots rolling back and forth on the floor. Newton shined his flashlight into the top of the broken door and saw flies flying around in the darkness. Newton looked around and saw his crew by the door frightened. Newton seemed to be calm, but was terrified. "Look up in there," Newton demanded. The bodyguard held his breath and looked up through the crack. Suddenly a half-skeleton hand, filled with flies and maggots, crashed through the door and grabbed the man by the neck. Terrified, Newton fell and his phaser fell out of his hand, bounced off out of the closet and onto the floor. The thing crashed through the door and strangled the guard, snapping his neck. It dropped him with maggots all over his neck and started for Newton. Newton crashed through the closet door and onto the floor. The living corpse leaped out of the closet at Newton. Newton rolled out of the way, and it flopped onto the floor like a sack of mush and bones. Newton jumped onto his feet and grabbed for his phaser, which was on the floor. Newton fell against the wall to get his balance. The corpse flung itself at Newton. Newton ducked, and it crashed into the wall. Newton rolled over to the door and kicked it down. He ran down the hall and opened the door to Bruno's cage. His crew stood around the exit of the hall and looked down into the darkness. Suddenly, they saw two glowing red eyes bobbing up and down in the darkness. The corpse was dragging its leg behind it, which was all skeleton. The rest of the thing